Alrighty everyone, so here's part 2 on how to organize your genealogy data. And I'm just going to jump right back in. So let's talk about how you can divide those file folders up once you have it. The 4 major different ways to organize those green folders are either by surname, by couple or family, by family line, like your 4 grandparents, your 8 grandparents, or by event. And the one I most highly recommend, and I think is most popular, is surname, because it's easy to lay it out, it's easy to find information, it's not too crowded, it's usually not too loose, it's perfect. However, you can also do it by couple or family. That's very popular. Some people even do it by event, although I haven't met or heard from anyone who's done that. But a lot of articles seem to be written on it. I do not recommend the family line just because it doesn't expand very well. It's great if you're in your genealogy just for a little bit, but it doesn't expand very well at all, and it's a pain in the butt to have to redo your filing system. Alright, so all of that can be further organized into, on those manila file folders, event or record type, couple or family, location, and your primary documents, which are usually copies of birth certificates, obituaries, things like that. And that's very good to have. So there you go with that. And now I'm going to go into the methods, so in other words, what you put in all those nice little manila folders. And the first thing you're going to want to put in there are family group sheets. So I've talked about this before and what those are, so I'm not going to go into much detail on those. And you can either make or print one for each couple. Now, you're mainly going to want to do this with your direct ancestors. However, it's also a good idea to do it for your aunts and uncles and your great aunts and uncles, because those guys usually have a lot of information on your grandparents and your great grandparents, and they can be really, really helpful in moving on to that next generation back. So what you're going to do is you're going to want to place those sheets into the manila folder if you're separating it by family or couple. And you can color code it if you want. And I usually organize them by the husband's first name. Usually because I'm putting them in a surname. So let's say the person's name is John Weston. I'm just making this up off the top of my head. And let's say there's lots of other Westons, and there's I don't know, Adam Weston. You're going to put John behind Adam because you're organizing it by surname and then further organizing it by family or couple. So when you write on those tabs who you're filing for, make sure you write the wife's maiden name and not her married name, so that way you can kind of figure out who she is and where she comes from without having to open up the file and get all the information out. You can see it at a glance. It's quick, easy, and a lot simpler. And so, let's see, what else? Oh, and so another tip, documents that occurred, in other words, events that occurred before the marriage, like a birth or baptismal or graduation, should go in the parents' file. That's just a quick little information tip for you. Let's see, so the next way you could do it is by surname or record type, where you usually file by surname, and then once again you file by record type, like census, military, birth, things like that. Alright, so let's go into binders right now. And so what you're going to do with binders, you're going to want to buy a few. I usually start with about 2 or 3, or however many surnames I know of, and I usually buy them at about 1 to 1.5 inches wide, that is. And you could do it for either every surname, or you could do it for those lines like I told you about, your 4 grandparents, your 8 great-grandparents. I suggest the surname because your information will grow like a ton. And then what you do is use the dividers to either divide it by couple, by record type and location, or by documents, or however you want to divide it up by. and you can use some ideas from how we divide up the file folders. Okay, so I'm going to go into computers now, and actually right now I'm going to check how much time I've been recording this for. Oh, 5 minutes, that's nothing. One moment, let me move my kitty out of the way. Alright, so with computers, you don't want this to be the only way you organize your genealogy. You want to use it because it's easy to share your information, and it's just easier overall. But don't let it be your only way. It's good to have paper files too. And I'm going to go deeper into how to organize it on your computer in a later video. Kind of want to give you a little heads up on that. There's also one other thing I want to mention, which are called numbering systems. And I personally think they're way too complicated. They require indexes and numbering everything, and it's way too complicated. However, if it's something that you think you like, because maybe you're a detail-oriented person or whatever, that's great. Google it. Google numbering systems for organizing genealogical data or whatever, and I'm sure you'll find someone that can give you some hints on it. Or you could just go to Cindy's list. So let's see. I'm going to leave you guys a few good websites on that side, I think, or that side, whatever side it is, and you'll be able to get any more information that you may need. Alright, so I hope you enjoyed this, and I hope you guys are organizing that stuff, because you need to. Alright, so there you go. Do it.